National Education, Health and Allied Workers Union has welcomed the outcomes of the meeting with the ANC. The organizations met over the ANC's Bheki Mtolo's remarks on NEHAWU. ANC Provincial Secretary General in KZN, Bheki Mtolo, now has to retract and apologise to NEHAWU for his comments. Mtolo was in the hot seat, or hot water rather, after he placed the blame for poor service delivery in KZN squarely at NEHAWU's feet, saying it was because of the union's underperforming members. Well, the ANC was then roped in to mediate, with the ANC saying this incident has polarised relations between the alliance partners. But for more on this, let's now welcome NEHAWU's president, Mr. Mike Shingange. Mr. Shingange, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think let's start off with how you're feeling with the resolution by the ANC that Bheki Mtolo must retract and apologise to NEHAWU.
Thank you very much, Naledi. Good morning and good morning to your viewers. Well, we're speaking today after the fact that the Provincial Secretary of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has sincerely issued a statement to retract his comments and unconditionally apologize to the union. And therefore, we want to take this opportunity and applaud him for having such a courage to see through of the missteps that might have happened in the past few months. We again, in the same vein, appreciate the ANC leadership for rising above and reining all of those who were involved in the public space, and also instructing Comrade Mtolo through their counseling to ensure that he rebuild the relations between ourselves and the ANC. So we are very pleased with the outcome of the meeting. We are also very pleased with the steps that Comrade Mtolo himself will have taken. And
you're satisfied with the wording of that apology?
Yes, we are satisfied. I mean, that is what at the heart of it. It's a comments he made which were unfortunate, which were malice, but also which were untruthful. Something that he was made to realize in the meeting, and indeed he has withdrawn. So we're very satisfied with that.
Yeah, there was, of course, I mean, some mudslinging and word swinging back and forth between Mtolo and NEHAWU itself. I mean, some within your party saying this man represents the highest deterioration of leadership caliber of the ANC in the province. That's a statement by yourself. And I mean, you've gone as far as to say he is a buffoon, a moron. I mean, what does this say about the deterioration of the relationship between the union and certainly the party?
The meeting of yesterday and the statement by Comrade Mtolo certainly bears all those utterances from both sides. It was bound to have a public spate like that because, as we will have said before, we didn't know what provoked Comrade Mtolo to make such a statement. We tried to probe even in the meeting, what is it that could have provoked such utterances? We were taken aback, we were ambushed, we didn't expect it. It was unjustified. It was only natural and logical that members of the union across the country, because the union is a national union, when you attack a member of the union in any province, you are touching every member everywhere in the country. And therefore, the response was bound to be like that, and uncontrollable language was bound to be uttered. However, the way we are now, we wish to concentrate on the content and the spirit of the meeting, but also the content of the statement of Comrade Mtolo's withdrawal and retraction of the statements he made. Okay. And then we can move forward.
Okay, but anyone who's watching this conversation may think, okay, there certainly is, I suppose, a smoothing out of relations between NEHAWU and the ANC and KZN, certainly Bheki Mtolo. But anyone who's watching does say, well, what is NEHAWU doing internally with its members to ensure that there is an improvement of service delivery in healthcare facilities and in schools? So was any part of that insult from Bheki Mtolo about your members taken seriously by NEHAWU as an opportunity to go back to your membership and sharpen the work that they do in our institutions?
No. Perhaps it was unbeknown to Comrade Mtolo at a time when he felt the need to make the statement he made about the work that NEHAWU members have been doing all along. We were able to demonstrate that in fact, it is the very same NEHAWU members that actually produce a diagnostic report about the state of healthcare infrastructure and facility in this country. We have submitted to the highest office in this country, both to the Minister of Health and also to the President, and also to the ANC itself. It was unbeknown to Comrade Mtolo at a time that it was NEHAWU that even in 2020, when everybody else was behind doors, fearing level 5 lockdown of COVID-19, it was NEHAWU that was on the street trying to defend the nation. Their members, they died there, their families died. The NEHAWU took the government to court to ensure that the public and patients and also the workers are provided with PPEs. It was unbeknown to Comrade Mtolo at a time, but in fact, the Home Affairs that is mentioning that the NEHAWU is not working fast enough has got 40% staffing capacity now. 60% of the posts in the Home Affairs, it's unfilled. It's only 7,400 workers, whereas it's supposed to be 18,000. There's no way that a quality service delivery can be delivered no matter how much dedicated it will be. So we're able to demonstrate such strides that NEHAWU every day is doing. Of course, we did say to the ANC and Comrade Mtolo that to an extent that there will be a proven evidence of any of our members that will have engaged in a matter that does not represent who we are in terms of serving the public, they should not spare us. Our meeting and our dismay and our anger on the comments of Comrade Mtolo had nothing to do with defending otherwise a genuine concern that public might have. However, it is important for public to have a genuine concern, but also appreciation of the conditions under which these workers are working on a daily basis.
Yeah, you know, when you talk about those conditions, the capacity that's necessary and what's needed to improve the working conditions of some of your members, a lot of them in the education sector, for instance, and, you know, on the side of the screen there, we're showing our viewers that we'll be in conversation with the Minister of Basic Education, Siviwe Kwagubeni. My question is if you believe that a DA-led department is able to take care of your members, particularly when we look at the fact that this entire discussion, even around Bheki Mtolo and the utterances that he made around NEHAWU, come from NEHAWU seemingly in support of Solly Mapaila and the SACP when they spoke out against the government of national unity. So do you think that a Siviwe Kwagubeni of the Democratic Alliance could assist your members in the education sector?
Throughout the history across the world, there's never been a single minister or a minister who successfully delivered what was otherwise supposed to be a government program. So we don't believe in an individual minister. We are making the necessary demands we're making, like we've made throughout our existence, that there must be a strengthening of the state capacity to deliver service. So we hope that a collective of a government will be able to improve the working and the living and also the learning conditions of our people. Remember, and as far as the policy is concerned, we cannot apportion the DA that they're going to improve the education system on their own, because they stand against a strong public sector institutions. They want to relinquish or to outsource the public institutions into the private. They stand for what they call a lean and a mean state. It was the Democratic Alliance that has been preaching even during the election that actually the public servants are too many, the public service need to be reduced. The public servants are earning too much, therefore they need to reduce the salaries. They have now realized, one of them is leading a Home Affairs department, that he only has 7,000 staff out of 18,000. Therefore, we hope that they're going to see that it is not true that which they believe in, it's not true that which they've been preaching, and therefore they must get on and try to govern and ensure that the people of South Africa receive quality services. Yep. To that extent, we will give anyone a credit when credit is due, but we're not going to put our eggs in one minister and say this one because it's from DE is going to deliver for all who care. They stand against a strong public institutions as the DA.
Okay, so am I then to assume, Mr. Shingange, that despite the apology by Bheki Mtolo for saying service delivery being low and weaker in the country as a result of NEHAWU members, that even though he is going to apologize or has apologized for that statement, that you still stand by your position of not being in support of the government of national unity and the ANC and the Democratic Alliance and other parties working together?
Firstly, the issue about the service delivery, Mr. Mtolo, and this was made it clear to me yesterday, was apportioning the blame for the failure of the state. Workers, employees, cannot take responsibility for the failure of the system of the state. It is not the workers that employ themselves. It is not the workers that do not buy equipment and the necessary facility that is needed. It is not the workers that ensure that the drivers don't have uniform or ambulances are unequipped or unavailable. So he was apportioning problems of the failure of the system of the state. To start with, it is not only NEHAWU that is organizing in the public service. In fact, some of them, 3 of the departments he has mentioned, NEHAWU is not even the majority of those departments. So it was unfortunate that he had to apportion to us. Coming back to the issue of the GNU, I think that's another mistake, because probably his comments, according to him, he was responding to what he believed was the utterances by NEHAWU about the GNU. Our comment about the GNU was the fact that probably there could have been an alternative because there were many options on the table, number one. Number two, our comment was to dismiss the utterances that says that the GNU is what people of South Africa voted for. We were indicating that we didn't vote for the GNU, we voted for a political party government. Granted, we didn't win election. When we didn't win election, when the negotiations were taking place, the negotiations were taking place in more with the parties that are political adversaries of the ANC, more than the alliance partners themselves. So we were not consulted in that side. But we didn't say that now that they've decided to have a government of national unity, therefore we reject, we're not going to allow them to go ahead. That Comrade Solomon Paila said what he said in our meeting, that's fine. But when you respond to him, don't respond to the platform, respond to the person who said things that he said that you don't like. So it was also, again, a misunderstanding of the content of what he was saying.
Yeah, because Mr. Shingange, the key question is NEHAWU in support of the government of national unity? If you allow me here, because the Sunday World reported this weekend, and I want to read from the article so you can understand what I'm looking at. And it reads, KwaZulu-Natal's Umlazi district has become the launchpad for a lobby by public servants belonging to trade union NEHAWU to dump the ANC in favor of former President Jacob Zuma's MK party. Are you aware of NEHAWU members that are looking to join the MK party or show support for the former President Jacob Zuma's MK party?
Thank you for the question. Firstly, in the NEHAWU structure, we don't have a structure called Umlazi district structure. There's no such, it doesn't exist. And I'm sure you will have seen our statement yesterday. We responded to dismiss such as fake news. In fact, we have written to the Sunday World to clarify some of the things they are saying, including mentioning people who do not exist in our structures. The branches that at least Prince Michien and Welazana that they have been mentioned, they've come up clear distance themselves from that. So that's the first thing. Structurally, in the PEC of KwaZulu-Natal and anywhere in the country, structurally in the RSCs of KwaZulu-Natal, in the BECs of KwaZulu-Natal, there's no such a discussion of saying that we're moving to the MK. What we clarified is that we have always had members, that not all of them belong to the ANC over the years. We have always had Inkatha Freedom Party members, of DA members, of EFF members. When COPE was formed, it took away a lot of members, but they didn't move from the EU. But they stayed within the Congress movement because of the ideological orientation and the political orientation of the union.
Okay.
So those members exist, that new political party gets formed, workers will move. So that has nothing to do with the GNU or not. Our point is we've got views and we've got fears about the GNU. That if not careful, we will be diluted because the ones who do not like us, who never liked us, will not forget who they represent in the government.
Okay. Yeah.
The point I'm making is that the ANC must never forget who they represent. That's all we're saying. It's not whether we support or we not support. It is here. We're not going to dismantle it. It's nothing we're going to do about it. However, doesn't stop us from having views about it and a reservation about it.
Okay, because Mr. Shingange, the report here says the NEHAWU structures in the area boast over 20 NEHAWU branches representing 15,000 members. That these branch leaders lobbying claim to have made headways in provinces like the Mpumalanga and the Eastern Cape. Are you aware of a petition that is being put together set to be handed over to NEHAWU leadership at your ordinary sitting on the 12th of September?
The NEHAWU in the province of KwaZulu-Natal collectively does not have 50,000 members. So it's impossible that a mentioned district, although we don't have district in the union, but there can't be a district that has got 50,000 members when the entire province does not have 50,000 members. That's starting.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why we're saying we're dismissing such things as fake news. However, if there are workers that have convened themselves and did the petitions, we have not yet received it. We don't know what meeting that is in on the 12th of, because we've just concluded the Regional Executive Committee meetings now. see when that the decisions about the political affiliation and the electoral support in the union is the subject of a robust discussion inside the organization. We are not going to stifle discussion. We are not going to stifle, but not bring issues for discussion. All we are saying that at this stage, we are not aware of anything like that, but also the structures and the things that have been quoted are non-existent as far as we're concerned.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll be looking forward to that sitting then on the 12th of September to hear some of that robust discussion. And we thank you so much for your time this morning, Mr. Mike Shingange, the president of NEHAWU, saying that they welcome the outcomes of the meeting that essentially has led to the ANC Provincial Secretary General in KZN, Bheki Mtolo, needing to retract his comments and then apologise to NEHAWU. Let's check in with